Greetings and welcome to episode 220 of the Words About Gamescast, a weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I am your host, Amy Alexander, and I'm joined this week by the glorious one himself, the distinct one, Mr. Daffod Moody. Hi!
I am vengeance.
I'm vengeance. Oh, I'm so happy, Moody. I'm a big DC fan, and it's been long. It's been a long 12 years. Of just
That's
Marvel.
how long you've been a DC fan, 12 years.
No, I've been a DC fan a lot longer, but it's been a long 12 years of Marvel fans being like, but our movie franchise is better than yours. And I'm like, shut up, fools. And it is. But like, shut up, fools, my comics are better. And I just like get like my Batman and Flash trade paperbacks, and I just sit with them and I cry. It'll be fine. And then you go out and watch Batman v Superman. Like, it's fine, it's fine. I've got the comics. It's fine.
Justice League. It's alright.
So, if you're up there, save me, Superman.
No, someone else is gonna come and save us.
Matt Reeves.
Sparkly Batman.
Sure.
I almost said Spider-Man for some weird reason.
Sparkly Spider-Man. I'd watch it.
I am vengeance.
That's me whenever anyone tries to tell me Marvel's better than DC. Not that I've had to be defensive about it over the past God knows how many years.
I have made people disappear.
No. Oh, Iron Man's one of the best superheroes of all time, and I just put my hand around my arm around their shoulder, and I'm just like, listen here. But like, it's getting tighter and tighter around their neck as I'm talking. It's like, listen here, sunshine. We're going to have a conversation about the history of superheroes. Robert Downey Jr. is a really good Iron Man, yes. That doesn't make Iron Man a good comic book character. Like, the voice goes demonic because, and the eyes start going red. And because I've had enough. I've had enough of hot takes about Iron Man to last a lifetime.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And I'm not the arbiter of whatever, it's just this is all in good fun and jokes. But DC is better than Marvel. But this isn't a comic book podcast as much as I wish it was sometimes. This is the Words About Gamescast, where every single week myself and Mr. Moody discuss what's going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days. This week's episode, we discuss the best-selling games of July, claims of sexual harassment and a toxic work environment at Batman Arkham developer Rocksteady, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2's writer and director being fired from the project, Fall Guys' attempt to raise money for charity, and more. After all that's done, we'll go over all the new game announcements, release dates, and delays that happened over the past week. We'll give you a content drop where we recommend some articles you should read and some videos that you should watch. We'll also tell you what games are coming out over the next 7 days before playing OpenCritic head-to-head, where we guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Ow, I just hit my headphones.
That's not a good idea.
As always, we'll wrap the show up with a post-show discussion and chat about whatever's on our minds. As always, there are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can watch any particular piece of this podcast in any particular order you want. You can skip things, you can watch the whole thing backwards. We don't mind. We're just glad that you're here. If you're looking for our thoughts on Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad, they'll be in the bit with the new game announcements.
Aye.
Because we'll be talking about those. Wow, you went Scottish and then I went half Scottish in response to you going Scottish. It was weird.
How you said about? That's more
Welsh.
Canadian.
Canadian.
Oh, Welsh even,
to be fair, and I haven't been publicising this much because like the NHL came back and I've been watching the hockey. Like again. But
yeah.
I haven't been publicising it on Twitter or anything. I think I've retweeted like one thing because I've noticed that the more I tweet about the Canucks, the worse they do. And right now they're doing really well. So I'm like, I don't want to jinx this. We just
Are you superstitious, Amy?
We just not normally, but I've kind of been watching it on the down low, and it's like, oh, we won the first match, we won the playing match. for the playoffs. Oh, we just knocked out the defending Stanley Cup champions. Oh, I'm gonna keep not talking about this because it seems to be working.
You just jinxed it, right?
Probably.
You better mute this whole part out.
If we lose in the next round, I'm fucking devastated now. You'll see me in 2 weeks just be like, I'll have our Canucks jersey just crying into it like, I didn't mean it.
Was
It wasn't my fault. Let's talk about the July NPD Breakdown. This is the thing that Matt Piscatella puts on Twitter it's not just him, it's an entire company, but Matt Piscatella puts it up on Twitter every month. If you watch this podcast for any significant length of time, you'll know what it is because we talk about it once a month. It happened last week, but last week was a bit mental. So we kicked a couple of things into this week, and then this was one of them. So I figured, let's lead with this. Let's do it. The top 10 best-selling games of July 2020. At number 1, Ghost of Tsushima. At number 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. At number 3, Paper Mario The Origami King. At number 4 is The Last of Us Part 2. Number 5 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 6 is Ring Fit Adventure. Number 7 is Mortal Kombat 11. Number 8 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 9 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And number 10 is Sword Art Online Alicization Like Chorus. Right. Congrats. There's no Grand Theft Auto this month.
Oh my god.
It finally happened.
It's back next month, we know this.
It might not be. Some games came out in August. It might be okay. It's still good. Some notes. Ghost of Tsushima was the fastest selling game launched in Sucker Punch's history. Paper Mario The Origami King is the fastest selling game in the franchise. And Sword Art Online The Thing subtitle was debuted at number 10. It's the highest any game in the series has placed. The previous was number 14 for Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet in February 2018. It's Ghost of Tsushima at Soul Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think Call of Duty is now starting to wind down, obviously, because the new one's going to be coming out soon.
Maybe. It's weird. Call of Duty's always been unstoppable, but I don't think it's ever been like this unstoppable. Like before,
yeah, obviously with how games have been one of those pastimes for all of us during the pandemic, so I can see why it stayed up a little bit higher than it probably normally would for a lot of people. But yeah, super congratulations to Sucker Punch. I haven't got round to playing Ghost of Tsushima yet because I'm plowing through a couple of games, like I'm doing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm also replaying Pokemon Shield and Sword. And I'm also I've also got a couple of indie games that have just come out on Game Pass and everything. So there's a few things to play right now, and I'm trying to balance them all, but also trying to almost getting ready to go back to college soon. So, but no, yeah, I do intend to get Ghost of Tsushima done by the end of the year. But yeah, congratulations to the entire team. What it seems like the critics have been a little bit harsher on it. I'd like to say that's unfair of me to say. It's going off on the score, like it's in the high 80s, I believe, or like middle 80s or something. But the user score is like in the 90s or something, which is really impressive to see that. So I'm really happy to see that. Well done to, like say, Sucker Punch, the entire team, work their asses off and put out what looks like a very good and successful game, which is all you want to hear. So fantastic to them.
Yeah, it's a fun game to doss around in. I've played it. I did a video of it, probably 15 hours. I'm not out of Act 1. It reminds me of Death Stranding, which I played for a bajillion hours, but never made it past chapter 3 or 4 or something. And then it's going to be one of those games where I just dip in and out every now and again until I go, right, cool, I'm going to move on now.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a bad thing. It's just one of those things where it's the story's not gripping me, but it's fun to be a samurai. So I'm just going to be a samurai for as long as being a samurai is fun. Like you, I've got a ridiculous metric fucking fuck ton of games in my backlog of I would like to go back and finish this. Like
Yeah.
I played Spiritfarer for like 5 or 6 hours yesterday. Got to the part that made me weep. Like I knew it would. Go back to the fantasy game league in January when we drafted our games, and I drafted Spiritfarer, and I said, "This game's gonna make me cry." No, it didn't. It
Didn't
did.
see that.
And then I made my video about it, which should be out Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, fantastic. I look forward to watching it.
And then I've got
should you lay it down at youtube.com/wordabouTgamesUK?
Yeah, that's right. Words about games UK. Yeah, and it's like I've got to move on in the interim to make some more videos. Like I've got Wasteland 3 early, so I'm trying to make a video to hit the embargo on that. Obviously, Inmost also came out, which is another one I want to play. But then it's like Spiritfarer is just like at the top of my list of like I want to circle back around and definitely finish this game. I have a checklist of games, and I'm looking at it, and like some of these games are from January already, where it's like I want to go back and finish this, and it's like oh shit. Scroll up to the top, it's like ooh, I never finished Coffee Talk, and I really wanted to, but it's like
I've got that installed. I haven't played it yet.
But it's like, oh fuck, and then it's like I should go back and try and finish Half-Life Alyx, even though the game's scary. Like, and it's just all sorts of games. Like these games I've deleted. Like at some point in my deluded brain, I was like, I want to finish Trials of Mana. I just deleted that one straight off the list a couple of days ago. So I was like, that's not happening. Like, it's just not happening. I'm like, well, like one level away from finishing Minecraft Dungeons. Like, and it's like, at some point, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna play that last level. Like, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, so go on.
Another game I'm really happy for is obviously Paper Mario and Nintendo. I've had a quiet but incredible year at the same time, which is really freaky to think. They've had Animal Crossing, which is in the top 5, which has been one of the best-selling games of the year, and they've got Paper Mario, which was obviously there's obviously there's meant to be more Mario games coming, but obviously with what's happened with the pandemic, we don't know if that's actually going to happen because obviously this is meant to be the 35th year, I believe, Mario.
35th anniversary. Mario is 1985.
Yeah, so obviously things have happened where they might not be able to do that now, which but hopefully cross fingers they might be able to.
Maybe it's just one, like to kick it off. Like they can get like Sunshine out or Galaxy. I'd take a new game or like Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever, but I'll take what I can get.
But congratulations to them. Like I say, congratulations. Ring Fit again. People want to get fit right now instead of
was it last month where it was like it's come back in stock? How can you tell? Because it's come from like number 7,000 to number 5 or something on the list last month.
Mario Kart still tottering along because it's just a great game. Smash Brothers same. Mortal Kombat a fun fighting game and everything, and you've got The Last of Us Part 2, which apparently wasn't going to sell, but it has sold brilliantly, which I'm so happy about. Which obviously we were sarcastic to them all last week, and I'm going to be sarcastic again towards them all. I was about to say,
am I going to do it again?
To laugh and go. Basically, this is what basically to all you whiners who had agendas against this game. I'm just gonna say a sparkly Batman's got a question, got something to ask you. So just go and see that. Just go and see that scene from the trailer, and that's what he wants to ask you. You don't even have to reply to him.
Yeah, and Sword Art Online as well. Like, I did a like triple take when I was like writing out the top 10 in our document, and I was like, wait, Sword Art Online, really? That's cool. Like, I wasn't expecting it.
It's a huge anime. The anime is super popular, and the third season or fourth season, I think, is just out right now, and it's been very, very well received. And the games always just put her on, and it's just like obviously they must have done something here that's made them go, yes, to go and play it, or it's just because of the pandemic right now. I don't really care which one it is because, like I say, if the game is clicking for somebody, and that's fantastic. That's all we want to hear, basically. It may not work for you or me, Amy. Like I say, I have no judgment because I have no opinion on it because I haven't played it. But whoever is playing it, they're obviously having a great time with it, and that is fantastic and well celebrated. So I'm happy for them.
A life hack man can. I stuck a straw in it.
I need some water.
Yeah, I've got the tumbler and it's like I didn't fill it up, so I was like, shit, I just need to grab something really quick. It's a Twitch tumbler. Twitch. I never
Maybe I
understand why
can
they put the
text
logo
them.
on the front on the bit that's like going to be facing me, because it's like you realize like advertising. But whatever.
They've already got you. You're streaming on Twitch, so they're like, we got you.
It's like yeah.
It's okay.
If you're buying this, like you're probably streaming on the platform. Like it says Twitch everywhere.
Yeah.
The top 10 best-selling games year to date are number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 3, The Last of Us Part 2. Number 4, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number 5, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 6, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Number 7, MLB The Show 20. Number 8, Resident Evil 3. Number 9, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 10, Mortal Kombat 11.
I think it's safe to say I think the top 4 are probably safe, and they'll be in the top 10 by the end of the year. Maybe even top 5.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think
Kakarot will
Cyberpunk,
fall away. I think
Assassin's
MLB, Resident Evil. You got Assassin's Creed. You got
Watch
Cyberpunk.
Dogs.
You obviously got the new Call of Duty. Watch Dogs
COD.
might get in there. It all depends if it's really well received this time. And the new Spider-Man, which we're all guessing is
Miles Morales. Yeah, that's a good shout.
So I think
Bug Snacks. We can't discount 2020's 2020's game of the year. Bug Snacks.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. I'll make it happen one way or another.
She'll put it in her number 1 if you like it or not, ladies and gentlemen.
I almost
It'll
did
be
that
someone's
once.
number 1 game of the year.
I almost did that once to win an argument, and I thought, nah, I better not do that.
No, that's taken away from my integrity.
Yes. I have a contentious relationship with Game of the Year lists. But yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like, it'll be interesting to see if the new Call of Duty outsells the old Call of Duty. Like, I feel like that's where we're going. For like the battle of 2020 is going to be, can Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War outsell Call of Duty Modern Warfare? Like, or like, are we going to get to January next year and it's going to be like, these were the best selling games of 2020, and it was a game from 2019.
Call of Duty and Call
of Duty. And then the second one was the Call of Duty from 2020. It's like,
yeah.
I would laugh. But
I won't lie. I think there's a chance.
There's a good chance.
There's a good chance there, Amy. I won't lie.
I mean, I imagine it's helped by the fact that like you have to go into Modern Warfare to play Warzone. Like, and it's just right there the entire time.
No, I don't think so. Warzone.
No, it's a separate game. You can download Warzone for free, but you download Warzone, you download the whole of Call of Duty. Like, I almost bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare the one time I played Warzone, because I was like, oh, that's weird. The multiplayer's in here. Like, there's a multiplayer tab for things that aren't Warzone. Click, click, click. Oh, this has just got Call of Duty Modern Warfare in it as well.
I bet they kept that quiet.
I don't think anyone mentioned it, but yeah.
Like I said, no one mentioned it, so they kept it quiet. It's like, no one's forcing!
Like,
we're getting free money!
I think there's stuff you can unlock by playing Modern Warfare that unlocks in Warzone.
Again, just like what I said from the last top 10, and congratulations to all these games. Even though we both have different opinions on Resident Evil 3, I'm really happy. Excuse me, it has succeeded. It's done very well, even though there were some problems with that game. Yeah, really happy for it. Like say MLB the show. I never tried it, but I hear when people who have spoken to have played it, they say it's right up their alley. It's the perfect game for them and everything. So, like, yeah, well done to all of them. I'm really happy for them all. So,
cool. Let's move on.
Okay.
Stuffs to get through. I gotta remember, like, we'll probably have a longer "this is the announcements that happened" segment, because, you know, there's two that we'll probably talk quite a bit about.
Yeah.
Rocksteady issues new statement following sexual harassment accusations. So I took the one story that kind of encompassed everything that happened over the week, rather than 3 separate stories that, you know, we would have needed to tell the full story. So shout out to Wesley and Pool over at Eurogamer for encapsulating the entire issue in one story for me. And he writes, Rocksteady has issued a new statement following sexual harassment accusations. The UK developer of the Batman Arkham games and the upcoming Suicide Squad game took to Twitter to say it had brought in an independent third party to confidentially speak with all employees at the studio who wished to do so, and it would be getting in touch with female employees who had left the company in the last 2 years to ask them to speak to the interviewers. On August 18th, 2020, The Guardian published a story about a November 2018 letter sent to Rocksteady's bosses that highlighted various instances of inappropriate behaviour that went largely ignored after having heard from one of those who signed. According to the report, 10 women out of the company's then 16 female staff reportedly put their name to the letter. Rocksteady currently lists having 239 employees total. The letter included complaints, quote, in the form of unwanted advances, leering at parts of a woman's body, and inappropriate comments in the office, discussing a woman in a derogatory or sexual manner with other colleagues, and slurs regarding the transgender community. Speaking anonymously to The Guardian, the woman said she had come forward to speak about the letter now due to a lack of action from Rocksteady in response. Following the publication of the article, Kim McCaskill, a senior writer on the Suicide Squad game, you missed out the word squad. The Suicide Squad game, who left Rocksteady in 2019, came forward in a YouTube video to expand on the issues discussed in the Guardian article and to also criticise the studio for failing to properly act on complaints. A day after the Guardian's report went live, Rocksteady issued a statement on Twitter saying it had received an unsolicited letter from some of the women's staff still working there and who had signed the 2018 letter. 8 out of the 10 people who wrote the 2018 letter are still at Rocksteady, the studio said, and 7 of those issued this new letter following the Guardian's report. This new unsolicited letter said that following the 2018 letter, immediate action was taken that resulted in a series of meetings with the women of the studio. Now, on the day Warner Bros. Is set to reveal Rocksteady's new Suicide Squad game, the developer has issued a new statement insisting it, quote, dealt with the issues raised by the 2018 letter at the time. It said, quote, a number of serious measures were taken, including discipline or termination of staff. Rocksteady added that, since then, it began asking all female staff to provide feedback on the portrayal and behaviour of characters in its games. The Guardian source had criticised Rocksteady's representation of women, citing the highly sexualised design and costuming of such characters as Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn in previous games. Quote, we continue to learn, Rocksteady said, and we are working diligently to increase the ways we support everyone. End quote. I'll bring it up later on, but there's an article in the content drop that's related to this. One part of this about their first response to all of this. Moody, where do you want to start? I could pick this apart. There's sentences I could pick out of this and talk about. Is there anything you particularly want to start with when we dive into it?
Basically, I want to just bring up the video from
Kim McCaskill.
Kim McCats. We've followed each other on Twitter for a while now, and I've spoken to her. She on Twitter, you can see it on my Twitter and everything, and she's a lot more better, and I think what I've seen on Twitter as well. But yeah, she's this is something that she needed to do, and brave of her like hell and everything. Thank you, Sophia. Absolute brave of her, and to what's coming out and doing this basically again, asked to get her name taken off the game and everything, because that's something that could hurt her career if wanted to and stuff like that. You want to be able to see on your CV, I was a part of this game, blah 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 blah, and everything like that. And for her to come out, that's incredibly brave and everything. But so when I saw the video, it was a right old gut punch when I saw it. I was just like, wow, wow. She's just, you could see in the video that she's struggling, she's hurting right now because of these things and everything. And she's seen the response from them, the main response that dropped Saturday, and she does seem like she's a little bit happier with what they've come out and said, and I hope that it is true. And I believe she has spoken to a couple of people who are still in the studio who has corroborated that the things have got better and everything. So that's a good thing, and that's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
It's just the response how it came out at the beginning was
Oh my
not good and
god.
everything. And obviously, when the Guardian article came out, that's obviously you automatically just go, "What the hell? Why is this happening?" and everything like that and whatnot. Just like we did with Ubisoft and any other studio
Yeah.
that's come out and done this, it's just like why? Yes, we love your games and everything like that, but doesn't mean you can be shitty people or shitty. You can have shitty bosses or anything like that. You need to be sorting this. And if a group of people, women, men, whatever, any type of group has come up and said, they wrote a letter saying, "There is a problem here. You need to take it serious." And when you hear things of that, they didn't take it serious, then that's a problem and that's scary. Again, I'm happy they've come out and people do seem like they have responded well to their statement to say things have gotten better, things are getting better, we are continuing learning, and that's how it is basically. Like, yes, it should never have happened. We can always say that it's and everything, but it's good things do seem like they're getting better. But this week, when I saw the article, I was thinking from the Guardian, which is brilliant written. I'll say that right now. It's a fantastic article. Go and read it. It's a hard read, but it is a good read. It's a good read to just get the good perspective. And to hear that, read that, then see the video, I was just like, I'll say right now, I almost tweeted out, "Fuck Rocksteady!" Almost. I was really tempted, but I did not because I always take my time. Go away, contemplate, have a think about it, say, yes, you are angry, but let's find out more facts. And thankfully, more facts have come out. But it's been a bit of a ride with Rocksteady this week.
It's
And
one of the reasons I like the fact that we do this weekly instead of like daily.
yeah,
It's like we do have time to sort of take a step back and really like think about everything and do the research to like to everything, so we can dig into stuff and see what else is out there. Because yeah, when you linked the article from the Guardian to me, I read it. It is a really well written article. I do take a couple of issues with the article itself in terms of like there's only one source for the entire thing, which is a bit iffy when it gets a bit iffy when you're talking about a studio, when you're talking about like a studio in the same light as we've been talking about Ubisoft, where Ubisoft has been like this outpouring of just stories from every direction that have gone back years, where it's like they needed to talk to more people, because then when the unsolicited letter came out, and I'm using air quotes, I am not going to speculate whether that letter was unsolicited or not. Like, I'm just going to leave that out there. I'm using air quotes just to, because that's what they said. Um, to say like, hey, the Guardian didn't talk to anyone else, like anyone who currently works at Rocksteady. So like, it's not necessarily that it makes the story bad; it makes the story incomplete.
yeah.
Um, which is a shame, because it was well written. And it is a bit of a shame that the Guardian writer didn't go further to talk to more people, like any of the other signatories of the letter or the writers of the letter. But the video, yeah, was just incontrovertible. I think I'm using that word right, of just being like, yeah, it sucked. And this wasn't that long ago. It was only just under 2 years ago when this letter was written, and shown to the people higher up at Rocksteady. Without more details of what they've done since, beyond what Rocksteady have said, it's kind of difficult to sort of say, hey, good job, you're doing better. It seems like you're doing better. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, because nothing like this has ever happened like before in regards to Rocksteady. But also, like, I'm gonna keep an eye on it.
You're on notice, basically.
Yeah, because like this isn't a Ubisoft situation where it's like, yeah, it's this is the thing. It's happened. It's continuing to happen. The response has been terrible. The action's been terrible. It's like, okay, it seems like you've learned, you're doing the right things, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next, if anything.
That's fair.
There's a couple of bits I do want to pick out,
Go on.
if you'll allow me. The first
No.
one, the first one being that less than 2 years ago, 16 out of 200 plus employees were women. Come on, Rocksteady. Come on. Really? Yeah, I feel like you have to try to get numbers that bad. Like, wow.
That is sadly just one of those things. Sorry for putting in there. But it is sadly one of those things. I've said it multiple times at my college personally, and it's not the college's fault on my end. It's like I have one woman in my college, on my class. On my last 2 years, I've had one woman,
I
and
remember you
that's not the
mentioning.
college's fault. At the end of the day, if no women are going in, and I'm not saying there isn't women out there looking for jobs, wanting to work in these studios or anything like that. I want to see, especially like in schools and colleges, to be helping all genders, especially women and all like that, pushing forward, saying, "You like video games? Do you want to make them? Maybe
Yeah.
this is how
Hey.
about we help you see that? Give them some encouragement. That's what I want to see, and we see it from there. We'll see it eventually in the industry and everything, and that's what I want to see. It doesn't start just from the industry; it starts from where before the industry, personally, for me,
Yeah, no,
and I
it's like
hopefully
it's
it
not the
will
point of
happen in the
entry that
future.
you need to
Yeah.
focus on. It's the point before entry. It's getting people up to the point of entry. And yeah, like let's get more genders who aren't cis men in the door. Because like, and we'll talk about the game later. Suicide Squad Killer Justice League. It's like I've seen Kim obviously was one of the writers on that game, and I've seen someone else, one of the other writers, talking on Twitter. Both of those people are women. I'll talk about my impressions of the trailer later, but they were positive. And it helps to get different voices in the room.
Yeah.
Because you make a game that can stand out. It's crazy how that works. Other parts I want to pull out, like this, the article I've linked in the content drop says this way better than I could, and I don't just want to stop like taking another person's opinion and putting it in my mouth and regurgitating it on the podcast. But it was a dick move by Rocksteady to publish that unsolicited, like publicly on Twitter without comment, for multiple reasons. But like pitting the women who said no, it's fine, versus the women who don't think that in public was shit. Like it was. Like their second statement was a lot better, but that first statement had me in like a state of, I believe I described it in the group chat as bewildered rage.
Yeah.
That they would do that. Especially after Kim McCaskill made the video, because all that letter does is give the trolls who, hate women being involved in their video games more ammunition to go and harass Kim, because I'm sure she's gotten a lot for daring to call out a video game publisher for shitty behavior. So I wasn't like, Rocksteady needed to do better than that. Like that was bad. That was a bad one. There was a third one. Let me see if I can remember where it was. Oh yeah, and it's just the fact that this story, it's how much I had to dig for a story, really. And this is something we've talked about Ubisoft, the Ubisoft situation. Beyond maybe like the first like flashpoint of the situation, and it's like, where are the big sites for stuff like this? Like, where are the IGNs and the GameSpots? Why am I having to go to places like Forbes to find people talking about this stuff? Like, Forbes has a great gaming section. They're obviously not a gaming focused site. Like, why is IGN and GameSpot and stuff like just being completely silent about stuff like this? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. I know why. The answer depresses me. And like, they need to do better with stuff like this, because there are certain sites you can go to where you're going to be able to find out about this stuff, and there are certain sites that just will not talk about this stuff. They want to get their clicks for practically being a second marketing arm for Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and Far Cry, without actually like then talking about the real issues that real people who make the games are facing.
Yep.
And that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just horrible. Like, like, that's just, because at the end of the day, like, there is an undercurrent of thought that certain publications and certain websites sometimes it really does feel like they're just marketing and not actually like, games critics and games reviewers and people talking about games. And when they do stuff like ignore the big Ubisoft scandal or the big Rocksteady scandal because, they've got to hype up Suicide Squad or they've got to hype up Assassin's Creed, it's like, yeah, you kind of just are being marketing for the big video game publisher at that point.
Yeah, yeah. It's like going back to that video from Jim Sterling where he talked about it, where people he knows who are friends of his who have been hurt because of all these terrible things that all these studios have done, and that he calls out the big sites. He's literally saying, he doesn't say the names or anything like that, but he does. We all know who he means and who he's talking about. Like when you've got like sites like Eurogamer and Kotaku and Bloomberg now, and like Forbes, who's more mainly a movie movie
Yeah.
site, talking about it, and the big ones, IGN and GameSpot, are not talking about it. It does bewilder you. Like, so we all know why. It's not good. It's depressing. Especially when, like, IGN, they were just hit by themselves with controversy against women and all like that, or holding
Yeah,
people
they got
back.
tagged
And
not so long ago in something very similar
yeah,
to this.
yeah.
Um,
So
and it's
they're
just
not
like,
perfect, and they shouldn't hide from it. They should just go, we know we've had this type of thing, but we're going to call out companies as well. I don't know if they think they're being hypocritical. If they do that, it's like, you're not being hypocritical. You can learn from this. It's fine. Everyone learns. You're never going to
yeah,
stop learning in life.
like you mentioned, Jim Sterling. Jim Sterling himself admits at one point in history he was fucking shit. And he got better, he rehabilitated himself, and he didn't hide from the fact that at one point in his career he was terrible, with a terrible person with terrible opinions. Like, own it. I've had some fucking shockingly bad takes doing this for 5 years. Like, some truly horrifically awful takes, and they all still exist. And if
Yeah.
anyone ever brings them up, I just go, yeah, I said that. No, I don't believe it.
I've learned. I was wrong.
I was wrong. Like, I
Chin on
was,
the chin.
especially when I first started doing this, I was like, yeah, I was bad at this when I first started doing it. I'm a lot better at it now. Now I'm just kind of suck. Also, shout out since we brought him up. Shout out to Jim Sterling, who and this is his own term for it, and it's quite funny. Who came out as, quote, gender trash today. I think it was today. It might have been over the weekend. Yeah, I guess he's come out as like some form of not cis. So shout out to him for that, because that's cool. I was looking at his Twitter today, and it was quite wholesome, in that weird Jim Sterling way.
Yeah, that's the thing about him. He comes across as a bit of a dickhead most of the time on his videos, but when he sits down and literally just talks to you, especially when he wants to get a point across, he comes across as arguably one of the most intelligent journalists out there, and that I give him mad respect for.
I love him. Like, so. I really do. We don't always agree on stuff, but I still think he's great.
You cannot agree and still like this person.
I know, right?
Just so you know.
Sit me and Moody down for 5 minutes to talk about Halo. Let's move on. The lead writer and director have been fired from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. This is from ONS Good over at Polygon, who writes, the publisher and developer of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 have fired the game's creative director and lead writer, and it doesn't sound like it was an amicable departure. Paradox Interactive and Hardsuit Labs announced the dismissals in a blog post on Wednesday, saying that Brian Mitsoda, who was also the lead writer of the original 2004 game, and director Kai Clooney, quote, are no longer part of the team at Hardsuit Labs. This was a joint decision made by the leadership of Hardsuit Labs and Paradox Interactive, the statement said. Mitsoda, in a statement to Rock Paper Shotgun, called the changes an unpleasant surprise. Quote, that this came as a shock to me is underselling it, Mitsoda said, noting his 5 years of work on the game. I'm incredibly disappointed and frustrated to say that this is where it ends for me on the project. I was not part of the conversations that led to the decision to delay production, Mitsoda said. He was fired on July 16th. To my knowledge, there were no delays caused by the Bloodlines 2 narrative development, end quote. Hardsuit Labs announced on August 11th that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was delayed into 2021. The studio said it needed more time to complete a stable and polished product. Bloodlines 2 will launch on PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One, with versions for PS5 and Xbox Series X also in development. Polygon reached out to a Paradox Interactive representative to ask for further comment on why Mitsoda and Clooney were dismissed. The publisher declined to comment. Hey.
Now, you know more about this game and this company more than I do, Amy, so I'm going to let you take the lead here. I don't know if there's been any controversy for this.
I've looked
for this
and
company
looked.
before of these people.
I've looked and looked to try and see if there was anything I could see why both Mitsoda and Clooney, actually not that I put a real emphasis on that, why either of these people will be fired. I found nothing. Like, and that's not like a surprise. Like when Chris Avalon, you know, when everybody was not everybody, when people were coming out talking about how Chris Avalon was a monster, like obviously like I didn't know anything about that beforehand. Like I just feel like I don't know. It's been 5 days since this was announced by the studio and the publisher, and they've said nothing. They've just said, yeah, we fired them. Why? Why did you fire them? Because either, like, you were justified in firing them because they've done something, either professionally related or, you know, something else, like, shitty, or they haven't, and, again, why have you fired them? Like, especially considering with Mitsoda especially was the big selling point for people to get on board with Bloodlines 2 in the first place. If Hardsuit and Paradox had just announced Bloodlines 2 without saying, and we also got the lead writer from the original Bloodlines, I guarantee the game would not have gotten as much hype as it has done since its announcement. Because people would have just been like, cool, it's just the name. You just drag Bloodlines over the name Bloodlines over this generic vampire game that you've wanted to make. Like, and you're hoping to, you know what I mean? But no, they had the guy from the very beginning. He was part of the initial pitch. He was part of the development. He's been part of the game the entire time. And a big reason why people like myself who love Bloodlines were excited about this game. And you just fucking fired him. And fair enough if he's done something wrong, but you haven't said that he's done something wrong. So I have no, like, other reaction to this than to just be incredibly pissed off that you've done this. I almost made it out of 2020 without having a strong reaction to this game and not giving Keith a prediction point, and now I have, because you fuckers have done this. You fucking bastards. Fuck you.
Done it, Amy. That's why I've
That's why you did it, but on a
piss you off.
on a serious point, it has, like, I am pissed off, but I'm pissed off and confused because I don't understand why this has happened. Like, there are a few games where you could fire the lead writer or the creative director, and for me to go, well, that's shit. Like, but this is one of those games where it's like, well, that is shit, because, like, the game's been delayed. Is the game now going to change completely from the original vision of Mitsoda? Like, maybe that's for the best. I don't know. But what I do know is he wrote the original game. So, like, from my perspective, no, it's probably not for the best, because I love the original game. And if he's done something wrong, if both of them, Kai Clooney and Brian Mitsoda, have done something wrong, tell us what it was. Because I could end up looking like a fucking idiot next week when it comes out that they've done something really bad.
Yeah, it's a really weird one as well, I won't lie. Like, it all depends on what they've done. If it's like something like what's happened to, like, at Rocksteady, then yeah, I think that we need to know. So companies can know to see if they need to hire if they want to hire them, or if they need to be thinking, okay, you need to sort yourself out before we hire you, type of situation. But if it's just something like that's just like they've done something that's bad, but not in a really bad, disgusting, evil, disgusting person type of way, then I personally don't think we need to know it. It doesn't bother me that. But like I said, it all depends on which one it is, really. But I hope hopefully deep down it's neither. And maybe it's just a studio that just said, we don't think we can work for you anymore, so we're just gonna sack you, type of thing. And if it's that, and that's the studio, and then then you just get onto the studio and say, yo, what the hell are you doing? You're pain in the asses. But I understand your how irritated you are because, like, say you don't know anything right now, and that's the thing about it. And
Like if
if
like
they
it,
do tell, if you do find out, it's gonna be interesting.
like it's not just a selfish thing on my part. Like if these people, and this is a big if, and I don't want anyone
Yeah,
I don't know anything, and it's unfair for me to even speculate on what's happened. So this is a big if. Take this with a huge pinch of salt. This is just a purely hypothetical thing. If this is something to do with all the situations we've seen unfold in the past couple of months, like the Rocksteady situation, the Ubisoft situation, if 2020 has proven one thing, it's that we can't rely on whisper networks anymore to try and keep people safe from people like Chris Avalon, like and everybody else, Serge Haskell, that Bellend guy from Ubisoft. Like we can't rely on whisper networks anymore. Like if
just say
someone
which
is a
one is a deal.
danger to other people, yeah, if someone is a danger to other people, then other companies need to know so that they don't hire them and then have them wreak havoc on another set of people in another company. Like, like it isn't just a selfish thing of me going, do I be mad about this or not? Like, I'm perfectly fine with I will wait for more information. But right now, I'm very confused and more than a little bit irritated. See, I'm throwing cans around and everything.
It's breaking
But
stuff.
yeah, it's a very fucking weird situation that I hope we get some clarification on in the near future.
Hopefully. But if it's nothing and maybe they're just trying to stay face or something, then we don't need to know at the same time. So
Like my knee-jerk
I
reaction to the
can
fact that they haven't given a reason is they're either trying to blame them for the delay because this game was originally supposed to come out at the beginning of 2020, and now it's not coming out until next year. They're either trying to blame them for the delay or they're firing them because the writing is done, which is again is another shitty thing to do because they've been leaning on Mitsoda pretty heavily on the marketing for the aforementioned reasons of he's kind of what sold a lot of people on the game in the first place. And if it's
The thing
neither of
is,
those things, tell us.
they'll still lean on his name in the marketing.
Oh, 100%. Like,
Unless the guy says no, you can. I don't want you to put my name on that at all. Unless you
yeah.
sack me.
If that is this, if I'm reading the situation correctly from the information that I have currently at present, the launch date trailer will be like, oh, it's from the original minds of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Will be in the launch trailer.
And that's all they have to do to get around it from not saying his name.
Yeah, because like people don't pay, like the vast majority of people who play video games don't pay attention to this level of detail. Like I'll know it's bullshit, and I'll scream bullshit from the top of this fucking podcast, but like a bunch of people probably won't. They'll just go, I really liked that game back in 2004. It's a sequel with them. I'll play it because that's just how things work around. That's how things work around these parts, Moody.
That is true. That is true.
But speaking of how things work around these parts, Twitter account of the year. I'm calling it right now. Fall Guys. I love the shenanigans on the Fall Guys Twitter account, but this one's worth a news story. Fall Guys raises money for special effect charity through bidding war. This is from Ben Bayliss over at Can I Play That, which is a cool video game website dedicated entirely to video game accessibility. You should check out. It's a really cool website. And he writes, Fall Guys is a hugely popular battle royale title you no doubt have heard about. But what about Mediatonic's latest effort? Don't have heard of it. But what about Mediatonic's latest effort to use their huge growth as a force for good? The developer has decided to use the popularity and brands jokingly wanting to get a skin in the game as a way to raise money for special effect. Coined as the Battle of the Brands competition, the goal finds brands bidding a sum. The brand with the highest bid by the end of the second week of the competition will donate said sum to Special Effect charity and get a skin available in-game. So far, the bids have been raking up a lot. We saw a bidet company offer up $40,000.01 with a skin concept with a t-shirt said, "Ask me about my butthole." It was outbid by Mr. Beast with $100,000. Since then, more influencers and brands have jumped on, including Ninja and esports brands. Ninja and AimLab teamed up together last night to raise the bid to $420,069, but then that bidet company returned to increase it slightly to $4,069.69. The company's skin now updated to include the t-shirt, but also a peach emoji for a hat. The brand that does eventually end up with the highest bid will be contacted after the second week to deal with legal bits and bobs, and then once the brand or influencer has donated, the Fall Guys Twitter will publicly share the news, and the studio will get working on an in-game skin. Whether the skin will be free to players or available to purchase with in-game currency is another thing we'll learn nearer the time. This is amazing. I've been watching this unfold on Twitter all week, and it's just... It's... Oh, it's the content I need in my soul, Moody. Why?
We've had two joys, even though one of the games I haven't really clicked with, but overall it's been very successful for a lot of people. From two games this year. That's one is Animal Crossing, and two is this Fall Guys. Two incredible joys that have just been on the tips of everyone's mouth basically to talk about. And especially right now, it's Fall Guys. Fall Guys is an incredible game, a lot of fun, infuriating sometimes to play, but respect to them. Absolutely respect to them, and I love what they're doing here, and it's all for charity, which is nothing to snuff at whatsoever.
Definitely
because
not.
It's going all for a good cause and everything. Whoever wins, well done. Keep on doing that. Keep on pushing the Fall Guys. Keep on pushing. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so happy for them. I love the banter because you've got some of the biggest names out there. You've got Ninja there and
Tim the
everything.
Tam. I like just Tim the Tam.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, him not getting a crown and the Fall Guys Twitter account just talking shit at him. And then he ended up with, like, one of the biggest streams on Twitch ever when he finally did it. It's just like... This game is... Oh, it's just so amazing that this game has become such a moment in time. Like, we saw it at E3 2019. It was revealed at the Devolver Madness that they call a press conference. And it was like, I remember saying to Keith when we did our post E3 recap, of saying, like, if Final Fantasy VII Remake hadn't have been at E3, like, Fall Guys would have 100% been my game of the show, because it just looked like wholesome fun. And then to, like, see it, like, watch it and keep an eye on it over the course of the year, and then for it to get a release date, and then, like, the beta, and then it's just hit so hard. It's just beautiful to see. Like, this is one of the biggest things that's happened in 2020, like, in video games, and I fucking love that it is, because it's like, it's just, I think it's something we all needed, like, from 2020.
It's not a lot of good in the world right now. There's a lot of terrible shit out there, and when you see things like this, it's just joy. It's just absolute joy, and that's what we want to see. So
a game about colourful jelly beans, like, playing games.
You can't really run or walk really well and fall over all the time.
It is. I logged on to Twitch this morning, and it was the most viewed game still on Twitch. I like to look. I just like to look every now and again, like, just to see how it's doing. And, like, I went on, and it was just chatting was number one. Fall Guys was number two, and it's just like, I love it. I love it. At the moment, it's fifth. But I think there's a League of Legends tournament going on right now, so let's move on.
Wait until the pros. Wait until the esports Fall Guys. Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be an interesting esport. Let's move on. This is another holdover. The next two are both holdovers from last week. We should be able to get through them quickly.
One of them has been updated.
One of them's updated, which is good, because I didn't actually read the original story last week. Control Publisher fails to explain why Next Gen Upgrade is limited to Ultimate Edition. This is from Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon, who writes, on Thursday morning, Control Publisher 505 Games posted, quote, an explanation, end quote, on its Control Ultimate Edition, a bundled version of the game and its expansions with a free Next Gen upgrade. But the so-called explanation doesn't explain much, if anything, at all. The publisher originally announced Control Ultimate Edition last week, but existing Control players have been confused regarding next-gen upgrades. Specifically, 505 said that only Control Ultimate Edition buyers would get a free upgrade to the enhanced versions for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. In its post Thursday, the publisher reiterated that yes, that's the case. Current Control players, using the original base game and expansions or Season Pass, will not have any way to play the updated version for the new consoles. I mean, that's not true. And I'm pretty sure it says that further down. I'll just keep reading. The only way for them to get the upgrade is to play the upgraded version. Yeah, sorry. I'm losing my mind. The only way for them to get the upgrade is to rebuy the game in the Control Ultimate Edition, which costs $39.99. Quote, "Every avenue we pursued, there was some form of blocker, and those blockers meant that at least one group of players ended up being left out of the upgrade for various reasons. As of today, we can't offer an upgrade to everyone, and leaving any one group out feels unfair. We understand that this is not what you want to hear." End quote. Video game publishers across the industry are handling next-gen upgrades differently, but many seem to be leaning toward free upgrades, like CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077 and Crystal Dynamics with Marvel's Avengers, for current-gen players planning to switch over to next-gen consoles. For instance, Microsoft's Smart Delivery program is making this easy, with what is essentially just an accessible way to support cross-generation games, and Microsoft is promising that for all its first-party games. Electronic Arts is doing things its own way for Madden NFL and FIFA 21, using an initiative it calls Dual Entitlement that offers free next-gen upgrades during a set time period. 2K Sports is one of the few publishers that's choosing not to offer a free upgrade, with the Xbox Series X and PS5 versions of NBA 2K21 priced $10 more than the current gen games. That went down really well. Though it didn't necessarily provide a satisfying explanation, 505 Games did answer some questions for current Control players. They'll be able to play the PS4 or Xbox One version of the game on next-gen consoles at launch via backward compatibility and, quote, "enjoy an enhanced experience," end quote, the company said. What the fuck is that last sentence? And enjoy an enhanced experience? You just said it's not gonna be the upgrade, so how, what do you mean the game's actually gonna work? Because it didn't work on my base Xbox One. Like, I love that game to death, but my god, the performance in some areas on my base Xbox One was horrific.
Yeah, I enjoyed the game. I'm not as high on it compared to what you were or anything like that, but yeah, I enjoyed it, but there was buggy as hell. And if that's what they mean the enhance, what because the next consoles have got more power and
it's just brute force.
It's going to be able to run the bugger. Yeah, it's. What I have to ask the question: what avenues have you explored?
I don't understand what avenues could be blocking them, because this is easy.
Yeah,
bigger publishers can do this.
Yeah. I don't understand what avenues. I want to know what avenues are blocking this, because it's quite simple. Like, studios are showing you, CD Projekt Red, Crystal Dynamics, Microsoft's Smart Delivery. They have just given you an avenue. Basically, you wanted more money, and I'd rather you just to come out and say, no, if you want it, you have to pay for it. That'll be fine. People will be annoyed, but the backlash would have been less, I think. You're just coming out and you're being even more confusing. We've explored every avenue. No, you haven't, and you know you haven't. You're just trying to get out of it because you know you've pissed people off. Just come out and say, no, we wanted to put it in the Ultimate Edition. I'm sorry if you don't like that, but we're just going to be frank and honest with you.
Like, I mean, just to go back, like, yeah, I mean, I live at the intersection. That is basically, like, everything that Control does. And I live at the intersection of that in terms of what my tastes are and things. But, like, yeah, it's just like you couldn't have explored every avenue because this isn't difficult. Like, you can make the choice to not offer a free next-gen upgrade, and that's fine. Like, I won't be particularly happy about it, and I'm sure as shit not going to repurchase the game. But, like, if you just want a business, like, just do businessy things and say, we're not going to offer this because we want money, like, all right, cool, that's your prerogative. But, like, you're trying to weasel out of it by saying we couldn't do this because there's blockers. What blockers? Tell me what the blockers are. Because it can't be the PC, because PC, boom, that's out of the equation. You don't need to fuck it. It's not like PC 2's coming out in November. So you're down to like Xbox and PlayStation. Xbox has smart delivery. So there you go, it's done. It's already solved. Like, you can just use smart delivery. Boom, there you go. Control, enhanced edition. Like, PS4 to PS5, like, backwards compatibility works. It must do, because fucking Avengers and Cyberpunk are doing their thing with enhanced versions on the PS5. So I don't know what the blocker is. Is the is the blocker money? Like, can you not afford to do this without having to recoup some of the costs by selling the Control Ultimate Edition? Because if so, just say so. Because I'll be a lot more sympathetic to that, than I wouldn't be. Like a PlayStation charging people like developers to do this, where smart delivery on Xbox isn't. Is that what the blocker is? Is that who would have missed out? Like, could you only do this if it was a free program? Like, again, there's like, it goes back to what I was saying about the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 thing, where it's like, the information based on the information you've specifically given me, I'm going to react to this in a certain way. And there are plenty of explanations that could have explained this where I would go, okay, I get it. But you haven't given me any of that, so I have to I can't give you the benefit of the doubt, because if it was any of those things I've just said, you would have said it, because you wouldn't have come out looking as bad as you did. And again, this is a 505 Games thing. I do not take issue with Remedy Entertainment whatsoever. They have nothing to do with the publishing of the game. Still hyped for Alan Wake this week. Woo!
The thing is about it for me when it comes to the game, and I don't mean this in a bad way towards Remedy or the game whatsoever. Like I say, I enjoyed it last year. I can't see many people playing this on the next gen console straight away.
I can see people picking it up for the reduced price if they've never played it before. So, like, if they've got their PS5 or their Xbox Series X, and you know, they're like, I want a game to play. Everyone loves this Control game, and it's been enhanced for the thing, and it comes with the season pass with the 3 bits of DLC and expansions and whatnot. I'll pick it up because it's not $60 or $70. It's $40. Would I buy it? Absolutely fucking not. I've already bought the expansion on Xbox One. So why the fuck would I buy it again? Like, no. That's not how any of this works. And yeah, the whole like, oh, well, you'll get enhancements, this just means the game works. Because the Xbox is powerful enough, or the PS5 is powerful enough to actually run the game properly. It's like what we were having, the issues we were having with Halo as we've been playing it. It's like, and those issues are magnified more, because it's like the system architecture of Xbox, Xbox 360, and Xbox One are all different. Which is why when you play Halo 3, a game from 2007, like you and Keith were both talking about having lag. And it's like, yeah, it's because the fucking games work completely differently. Like, the consoles work completely differently. But my Xbox One X can just brute force straight through that because it's got enough power, and I don't see those issues. Like, it's the same thing with Control. It's like, it's going to work better and be quote-unquote enhanced because the Series X and the PS5 can just brute force their way through the problems that exist, because the game was probably a bit too ambitious for the current generation.
Probably. All I want to think, there was an excellent deal for Xbox One X's this week. I was just thinking,
I saw it.
160 quid. I was thinking, how much could I trade in my Xbox One S, get some cash, put it in the bank, and then just go
It's good
on Amazon. I was thinking, but I was thinking, David, you know you're not going to. You're going to hopefully get a new PC, and you're going to get a PlayStation 5, and you're going to keep your S until probably next year to get the X. So it's fine. But yeah, this is shitty. It's crappy. It's a pain in the ass. I want to shout out one thing. I love Electronic Arts' initiative name. Dual Entitlement.
Dual Entitlement.
Entitlement. I was like, Jesus, guys. You're just like, yeah, we are letting you do this. We're only doing it for 1 year though, so you're entitled.
Of course they are, because of course they're only doing it for 1 year. Like, I don't understand people's confusion around them only doing it for 1 year for their yearly sports titles. Like, you realize that by the time the entitlement runs out, the next one will be out, right?
That's the thing about it.
That's
I just love the name though.
But the name
Dual
is terrible. The
entitlement.
name is fucking atrocious. Like, Jesus, come on here.
We're gonna pick the name that's the
Someone got
most to
someone
slap
got
people in the
paid.
face.
Like
Oh yeah.
when I always read stuff like that, it's like someone got paid to come up with that. Someone got
Yeah.
paid more money than I see in probably a year to come up with the name dual entitlement, and I'm just like, fucking that shit like that makes me mad because it's like that is terrible.
Do you think they have to test their eyesight up at Barnet Castle?
Maybe not that bad. No, I don't think anyone's as bad as that. Next news story. We'll make this a quick one. This is from last week. AT&T looks to have changed its mind about selling its game studios. This is from Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer. I probably won't read all of this. Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment, owner of studios such as Rocksteady, NetherRealm, and TT Games, is seemingly no longer up for sale. Reports came in last month that parent company AT&T, which acquired Warner Bros. In 2018, was looking to offload its gaming division for about $4 million in a deal that may include a commercial licensing agreement where AT&T can continue to get revenue from its IP, such as Lego and Harry Potter. Take-Two, EA, and Activision Blizzard all initially expressed interest, but no deal followed, and then reports came in that Microsoft had also expressed an interest in acquiring the outfit. Now, however, it seems AT&T has reconsidered the sale, and instead of selling off its gaming concern to help mitigate its debts, instead it's restructuring the organization. In an email to staff, CEO Jason Kyler told staff Warner Bros. Interactive, quote, remains part of the studios and network groups, end quote. I'm not going to read the next two paragraphs. Instead, I'm going to continue on as if I am reading the truthful version of this news story. And that's not to say Vicky Blake lied. That is just to say that she quotes the email and all of the things it says. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to quote what the email should have said. Because the email should go on to say, yeah, we put this up for sale because we wanted to like get some money back to pay off our debts. But then we realized that DC Fandome's coming out and we actually have two really awesome lock-in games that we could make a ton of money off of coming out in the next couple of years. Plus we've got this Harry Potter thing. Plus Injustice 3 is probably going to be coming out soon. And we realized we're probably going to make more than $4 billion just off selling those 4 games. So we decided we're not going to sell the studios because that would be dumb. And that's what the rest of the email should have said.
But also, I don't think any company was coming close to the price.
$4 billion. Nah, not a chance.
4 billion.
Not a chance.
I'd say, you saying million or billion?
Billion.
Oh,
It's looking to offload its gaming division for $4 billion.
Yeah. I believe Activision. That's what I've heard online. Electronic Arts and Activision came in at around, well, just under 2 billion. So, like, I think they threw it out, see if they could.
See if they could
no
get
one came
someone
close,
for $4 billion.
and then they re-looked and saw, wait, Batman.
Yeah. Wait, we've got Gotham.
Killed a Suicide Squad game, a Gotham Knights game, a Harry Potter game, an Injustice 3 game, probably guaranteed. What the hell are we talking about? We can throw these games out on all consoles and get PCs. Throw out merchandise with all these games, and bring it all in, rake it all in.
And it doesn't cost us anything to license the DC universe, or the Harry Potter universe, or the Lord of the Rings universe, because we fucking own them. It's a very simple edit. I'll just go technical difficulties, beep, and then I'll just finish my thought, which was, why the fuck are we doing this again? Like, there's no reason for AT&T to sell this because they're going to make the money back very quickly. But then the magic of that is, then what they'll do is they'll make more than the $4 billion by continuing to make games that people buy because they're setting up a DC multiverse in the video games that they make. Like, crazy. Yeesh. Do we want to talk about Apple and Epic and everything that happened in the past week? There's like the update. Because basically what's happening is, right, there's this one scene in How I Met Your Mother. Have you ever seen How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, final season stuff.
Yeah, I do. Well, I like the season. The ending was bad though. There's this one scene in early How I Met Your Mother with Ted and Barney, and they're at the bar, and like Ted slaps Barney, and then there's a pause, and then Barney slaps Ted, and then there's a pause, and then they do the thing where they both start slap fighting each other. It's really funny, and that's basically Apple versus Epic. Like, Yeah, Epic slapped Apple, Apple slapped Epic, and now they're just having a slap fight in the corner, and everybody's kind of embarrassed for both of them. Um, because this is starting to look a bit pathetic from both sides. Because people thought I was pro Epic and anti Apple in the last episode, and I just want to be very clear about this. I have no horse in the race of two billion dollar companies fighting each other for billions more dollars. I
Apple's 2 trillion.
do not care which side wins,
Yeah.
but it is starting to have an effect on things I do care about. Because they're like the app. Epic's talking shit about Apple. Apple's talking shit about Epic. That's all you really need to know. Apple filed a countersuit. They're both just yelling at each other while they slap each other in the corner. But Apple did do one thing, which was they're revoking Epic's developer license, which means they're not only not going to be able to update Fortnite on iOS devices, they're not going to be able to update the Unreal Engine on Apple devices. And that's not just a problem for Epic Games, that's a problem for anyone developing anything using the Unreal Engine on iOS. So that's like indie developers and app developers and basically the small people. You know, the people that Epic we're talking about wanting to protect and help with this. Well, you just fucked them. And again, I'm not victim blaming. Apple made the decision to revoke the licenses because, you know, this is just evolving into a pay billionaire slap fight, as Imran Khan said last week, and I still love that turn of phrase. But it's fine, though, because Epic's hosting the free Fortnite Cup with anti-Apple prizes. Because they're weaponizing the children that play Fortnite against the billion-dollar Apple company.
Thing is about it, Epic's not going to win. I'm not going to lie here. I don't think they're going to win. Because Apple, and this is not going to hurt Apple whatsoever. Apple have done douchey things over the years, and people are like, but I like their product. And that's just how it is. You don't become a $2 trillion company without having a product on the market that people like.
Yeah.
And it's not about Fortnite on that product for people to play it on. It's because they like the product. Yes, kids might be able to play on it, and families might be going, but honestly,
yeah.
I'm telling you right now, the dent is not going to be that hard for Apple whatsoever, and we know it isn't, ladies and gentlemen. So
I mean, we're still like T minus like a couple of weeks from the news stories of the kids who now can't play Fortnite anymore. And just to be clear, they can, but just with other people on Apple. Like, unless the game gets removed from the iOS store altogether, it just means that basically crossplay won't happen the next time there's an update. Like, I mean, yeah, sure. Like, I've been with Epic from day one. Like, 2-3 years ago, whenever it was, when they were like, yo, this 30% cut nonsense is bullshit. Like, so we're doing away with it on Unreal Engine, and then we made an entire PC gaming store where we're doing away with it, and we're giving developers a fairer cut. And I was like, cool, I'm down. That's fucking awesome. But then they've tried to like brute force it through with Apple, and I guess by proxy also Google. But it's just like they're just going about it in a way where it's just like, this feels really skeevy. Like, for like to like be like, yay Epic. It's like I can't really be like, yay Epic, when they're like, hey kids, Apple sucks. go shout at Apple. It's like, kids, play your game, man. What are you doing?
The thing, it falls back onto Epic then. That's the thing about it.
That part does fall back on Epic, yeah.
Yeah, so like I say, Apple may be doing these things, and like, but this is the thing about it. Apple have had their own infrastructure for years. It's the one thing Steve Jobs wanted when he was introducing all of his products. He wants it on their own locked infrastructure so they can control it and everything. And that's how they wanted it, and that's what they've kept. And it's worked for them. Like I say, you don't become a $2 trillion company for not people to buy into that infrastructure. So
yeah,
like now it's just like
I mean, empires rise and fall constantly. Like, things will change. Things always change. Like, and I would totally prefer if Apple were taking a 30% cut of indie developers' revenues. That would be nice. And, you know, maybe the ends do justify the means. I don't know. We'll have to see how the dust settles when all of this is over. It is just that one component of the way Epic's going about this, where it's just like, but that makes me sort of like pause and be like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like a great way to go about it, but this might even, but then you can come around to the other side of the argument and go, this might be the only way that they could win. You know, like, it's the Doctor Strange moment of, I saw 14 million possible futures, and how many did we win? One. And it's like, might be the only way they can actually force some sort of change on the App Store. I don't know. Again, it's Barney and Ted having a slap fight in the corner of the bar.
Thing about it, nothing's going to change.
We'll see. I've heard that before, right before things changed. Should we move on, though? I do want to read this last story because it's really cool and because it's not about bowstrings. Deathloop blocks the PS5 DualSense controller triggers when your weapon jams. This is from Wesley and Poole over at Eurogamer, who writes, upcoming game Deathloop has a really cool sounding use for the PlayStation 5's new controller. The PS5's DualSense controller includes adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, a subject discussed by a raft of developers in a new PlayStation blog post. But the note from Deathloop game director Dinga Bakaba caught my eye. His eye. As Bakaba explains, when your weapon jams in-game, the controller will block the triggers, preventing you not just from pulling the trigger virtually, but pulling the trigger on the DualSense. Quote, I'm really excited by the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, both features that will bring some physicality in-game experiences and give important feedback. Deathloop being a first-person shooter, we do a lot of things to make weapons feel differently from one another. One I like is blocking the triggers when your weapon jams, to give to the player an immediate feedback even before the animation plays out, which prompts the player in a physical way that they have to unjam their gun. End quote. That's really cool. Like, someone's finally said something like about these next gen consoles in a way where I look at it and go, damn, that's really cool. Like,
I won't lie, that is like, it does make you go, I like what I'm hearing.
I like that.
Type of thing. Yeah. And that's what you want to feel. They want to. Yeah. They obviously, you can't hold the gun or anything like that. Yeah. They have to make it as best feeling they can with the controller. And that's great. I won't lie, that's great. I like it. Sounds really good. Well done to them. It sucks that the game's been delayed and everything, but
yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, the game's been it's
this is a whole thing that's just. This is what we want to hear. Like I say, we're not hearing anything right now, which I think will change from next week with the Gamescom thing coming up. But
oh god, yeah, that's this week. Like, fucking hell. Once we hear about the consoles and stuff, like, again, I went on a rant about console reveals and stuff last week about why we don't know much. But yeah, it is that case of like, you can tell me you've got millions of teraflops and all of the SSDs going so fast, but it's like this is a detail where it's like, here's a real-world application of the thing we've been talking about. Sounds cool, doesn't it? And I'm like, it does sound cool. Why did nobody say this months ago? Why have you been talking about fucking bowstrings for months? You fucking bastards. You'll feel the bowstring as you pull back. Because that just sounds like the Switch. You remember the ice cubes in the glass? And I was like, that's dumb. Like, that's stupid. Ding, 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 ding. But, like, yeah, the force feedback, I can't remember what it's called now, in the Switch Joy-Cons is really good, but they just told me it was really good in a really dumb way. Whereas this is like...
They were speaking to their Japanese audience. That's the thing true. About it.
Imagine ice in a glass. No.
No, I don't want to.
Here's 1-2 switch. What the fuck is this? That's probably... The Nintendo Switch reveal was probably the worst presentation for what would go on to be the best console. Like, it was like a mangled presentation, but then the console came out and was like, actually, this thing's really cool. But the presentation was not. Apart from the ice, that was really cool. Moody, there's been some announcements, some reveals, some release dates, some delays, a lot of free games. and a few other things. So we'll talk about reveals first. We might get a bit stuck on this one. There are three. I'll get the one we're probably not going to talk about that much out of the way. Hades is coming to Nintendo Switch with cross-save. It's a great game. It's cool that it's coming to Switch. It's great that it's got cross-save because it means if I buy it, I can just take my save, drop it onto the Switch. But instead, let's talk about these other two reveals because I feel like they're a little bit of a bigger deal. Gotham Knights is coming in 2021. No platforms listed. And Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X in 2022. So this was the DC Fandome. These were the game reveals. I watched both of them. I'm guessing you did.
Yeah, I watched. I think they came out before. One came out before we were meant to charity stream yesterday, and then the other.
Yeah, the other one was out late last night because I remember I stayed up to watch all the Fandom stuff because I wanted to watch the Batman trailer. And I think by the time I'd settled down to watch the Batman trailer, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was already out, so I just watched that. Where do you want to start? Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad?
Start with Gotham Knights because, like I tweeted out,
it's not your Batman game. It's not your Batman game that you've been complaining about.
Yeah, I've said that. I've said that multiple times, and I even said it's probably going to be my bloody game of the year. I'm probably bloody going to stick with that as well, probably. This was a really good reveal by Montreal.
I was really worried. Can I just say I was really, really worried by the tone of your voice because I hadn't seen your tweet that we were going to have a fundamental disagreement here, and I'm really glad we're not.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
It's a great reveal. It's a great trailer. The gameplay looks really good. Really, really good. I'm curious because a lot of people saying what I've seen online saying that this looks like it's far ahead, more ahead than that they're letting on. That it might have was maybe previously meant to be a 2020 game. And obviously, with everything going on, they've just made the decision. We're going to push it to next year, so we don't have to probably crunch as heavy as what we normally would to get the game out and everything. So, which if is true, that's fantastic to hear and everything.
I believe that.
I really like the concept.
I believe that because if we remember earlier this year, there was meant to be a Warner Brothers Interactive E3 show, and if you haven't, it's like when Bethesda did their first one. It's like, if you haven't an E3 show, and you don't normally, you've got something coming out this year.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think Gotham Knights, because they were teasing this late last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I firmly believe it was meant to come out holiday.
I agree.
Launch title.
I agree.
Or and like launch window.
And I think because they haven't put down a thing saying on what console yet, that makes me think they're pushing this to the next gen altogether.
I don't think they'll do that purely because I think it was a cross-gen game anyway, and I don't think they'll want to let the work on the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game go to waste. It was interesting that they didn't list platforms, but I think
that's the thing about it. That's what makes me question it. I'm thinking, are they now pushing it all the way just to next gen altogether?
I doubt it.
And that they maybe do, and they believe that there's going to be more next gen consoles out more than even the console providers are thinking is going to be out by next year, by Christmas next year.
Maybe, but one, I think this game is going to come out well before holiday 2021, and two, I can think of about 160 million-ish reasons why they would launch on PS4 and Xbox One.
There's no doubt about
it. Whereas the other game we'll talk about, which we will talk about, has obviously been designed from the ground up to be a next-gen game and take advantage of the extra power, the speed, the graphics, all that stuff. Like, Gotham Knights, and I will get into my positives, on the game I have many. Gotham Knights very much looks like a game that is current generation. So I don't see what, it's just that I don't see why they wouldn't release it on the PS4 and the Xbox One, because they can sell millions of copies that they wouldn't necessarily be able to sell otherwise.
But like I say, it's very weird that they didn't list them. That's all. That's why I'm questioning it. But I hope I'm wrong and it is on all platforms for everyone to play and for them to get more of the little bit of the loveliness.
Maybe they're trying to make a Switch version. Maybe that's why it's not been listed.
That's why. Yeah, it looked great.
Or it's an Epic
It
Game
looked
Store
great.
exclusive, and they just went, "Don't tell anyone yet." But no,
Yeah,
this.
probably, yeah.
Oh, this looks so good. Like you know, because you've had me on your podcast. It doesn't really. I don't really have a chance for it to come up on this podcast very much, but you know, I'm a huge DC fan. Like, I love the characters, the world. I have subscriptions to the comics, and I've had them for fucking decades. Like, and like, if you ask me, like, what my top 5 comic book storylines are, like, in history, somewhere in that top 5, Batman, Court of Owls by Scott Snyder is one of the greatest comic book storylines of all time. Like, and this is what it looks like they're adapting, weirdly without Batman, but like maybe he's dead, but he's not dead. He will turn up.
Right now.
Look, he faked his own death so he could investigate the Court of Owls without them because they were trying to kill him. Boom! I just solved the Batman mystery. But yeah, like it's one of my favorite comic book stories. If you're a fan of Batman, like you should go and check it out because it's legitimately, genuinely amazing Batman story. And the best part was it was the first Batman story of the New 52, which means anyone can jump into it and read it because it was a reboot, fresh start for all of DC. But I love everything I saw. I love the fact that Batgirl's going to be a playable character. She's one of my favorites. Like, also alongside, like, Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, who all have, like, very different play styles. Like...
Yeah, Red Hood looks like he's the tank.
Yeah. Well, not Red Hood, but Nightwing and Robin were sort of playable in Arkham Knight, with that weird tag system they had. Which I remember playing Arkham Knight and thinking, wow, this tag system is fucking amazing. It's a shame it's not co-op. And I guess they heard me. Because the other thing is, this game's got co-op.
Montreal heard you.
Montreal heard me because this game's got co-op. And I'm down. I'm here for it. But I loved it. Yeah.
Well done to them.
Yeah.
Like I say, I'll hold my hand up. Hopefully it's going to be a fantastic game. When it comes out, I'm happy that they're exploring different characters instead of Batman. Like I said, that's one of the main things.
They've done it in such a great way. They've done it's basically a detective comics fucking game, which is fantastic. You get what you want, not Batman, and I get what I want, which is a cool Batman game. It just happens to not have Batman, but it's fine because it has Batgirl. So I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Some might say that's an upgrade.
I'll say this right now. This is coming out October next year for when the film comes out.
May 2021.
I think October. I think they want to drop this with the film.
One of us will remember that. It's either May or October. And then it'll be like June. Fuck. But there was another
January.
Game. There was another game that 2022. No, but it's in my fantasy league team. But there was another game that came out that got revealed. Didn't come out. Fuck. Could you imagine? Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. There was no gameplay with this. This was literally just a cinematic reveal announcement. Mostly because the game is 2 years away, which is fair enough. I will let you once again now take the lead on this conversation. What did you think of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League?
Trailer was really fun. Really liked the trailer. Obviously without gameplay or anything like that. Just a trailer. That's all really. Nothing really to...
Which is fine for this game exists.
Yeah. I like the dynamic from all 4 characters, what they showed.
Hell yeah.
Really like that. I really like the colourfulness to it. It was really well done. I also like that they told you straight away, boom, This is why they're trying to stop the Justice League because Brainiacs took over them.
Yeah,
Boom.
they're evil.
Didn't mess around or anything like that. It's just like boom. This is why. That's it. We're not gonna talk about it or anything like that. This is why. You're not gonna speculate or anything. This is why. And they did it perfectly. Yeah, really, I liked what I saw. I'm very intrigued to see what type of gameplay is this going to be. Is it going to be very how it has been for the Arkham games, or some have been people like I've seen a lot of people throw this into it. It's came across very Sunset Overdrive-ish for a lot of people.
I was one of those people.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the vibe. It's the vibe. It's the vibe, the tone, the atmosphere, and what the gameplay look like. What you can infer the gameplay looks like. From the trailer, because it looks like it's going to be very mobile, like jumping about, moving about and stuff. And then when you combine that with the bright colorfulness that you mentioned, plus the humor and the tone and the atmosphere of the game, like it did just scream Sunset Overdrive. And that's fine, because that tone fits the Suicide Squad like perfectly. Like if you take that one movie and scrumple it up and throw it away and forget about it forever, and like again, as a massive DC fangirl, I've read a ton of Suicide Squad comics, and it's like this is nailed it. They've nailed it with the Suicide Squad. Like it's when I heard that Rocksteady were making the Suicide Squad game, when it was confirmed, quote unquote confirmed before it was confirmed. Like Fable, it was one of the worst kept secrets in games. I was apprehensive because of Rocksteady's past in terms of the tone of the Arkham games, and I was worried that they were going to try and make a Suicide Squad game in that sort of tone, which doesn't really work for the Suicide Squad. But I was happy to be proven wrong, because this trailer was perfect. Like, in terms of its tone and what it nailed. The back and forth between the four characters was amazing. Like,
it was really,
just from the very from the my worries were assuaged from the very beginning. From the very beginning, where it's like where Waller's on the radio, and she's just like, "You have to get the target," and Harley Quinn's just like, "I'm going for the target." And then you just see and she's running her fingers across. And then she tries to get the pizza. Target's down, and then fucking Captain Boomerang's complaining about having a headache, and the bit where Deadshot is like, I never miss, but then all the other characters take the piss. It's like, yeah, we know, you say you mention it all the bloody time. It's like...
It was really good. Like I say, yeah, the dynamic, that's the thing about it. That's what you like to see, is the characters. And they want to get... if you're not going to show gameplay, that's how you get people in, basically. You show them the characters or what their dynamic is. And hopefully it's going to go right through into the entire game. Like I said, my only worry about this game is what the rumor is, that this is a games of service type of game, just to combat Marvel's Avengers and everything. And if it's something like that, I hope you're doing something different enough from Marvel's Avengers to be something unique and different, because there's no games of service game out there that's ever really hooked me yet for me to play.
Yeah,
so,
there will be one, though, eventually. Like, at some point in
Battle
the future.
Royale's never been interested in it. You and me and Dave play Apex once a week, pretty much.
I'm gonna throw this out there, and I know I know people are gonna take issue with me saying this, considering in the intro like what I said about Marvel. But like if Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a games as a service game to compete with Avengers, like, it's already done one thing that Avengers has failed to do, which is it has a personality.
Oh, great! I agree with that.
Like, Avengers is just like, it's coming out in a few weeks, and it's never on my mind like Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, it's never impacted me in any way. And Moody, I fucking played it. Like, I played it last year, and it's like, it's still never been on my mind. It's like, it's a game that lacks everything. Whereas, like, I've watched 4 minutes of a trailer, of a cinematic trailer for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and I can tell you more about that game than I can about Avengers. I've got a bit of some of the bullet points from the press release here. It's a next-gen PC only, coming in 2022. It takes place in the same universe as the Batman Arkham series. So it's an expansion of the Arkham verse, I guess. It's set in an open world metropolis, which we saw in the trailer. And it's single player or up to 4-player co-op. And what it means by that is you can play the game single player, and the 3 other characters in the Suicide Squad will be controlled by the AI. Or you can switch between them as well, like if you're playing single player. So you're not like, you don't pick like Deadshot and then be like, oh shit, I wish I would pick kill a shark, King Shark, and you can just switch to King Shark. But you can also do 4-player co-op, so like me, you, Keith, and Russ can all play the 4 different characters, and I have dibs on Harley Quinn, so suck it.
And I'll be Boomerang.
Boomerang was cool. They were all cool. Like, it was such a good trailer. I was so happy after watching DC Fandome yesterday. Like, the Batman trailer was great. This was great. Gotham Knights was great. Wonder Woman 1984 looks great. The Flash Season 7 sounds like it's going to be really cool. The Snyder Cut exists. It's the best I've got for that one. Did I set that entire sentence in motion just to slam the Snyder Cut? We'll never know, but we will, because the answer is yes. Let's move on. There's 2 release dates announced. Martha is Dead is coming to PC and Xbox Series X in 2021. And Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to early access on Steam and Stadia on September 30th. It's like 25 hours of the game. Like, the first act is going to be the early access. And it sounds like they're looking for a quick turnaround on it, so that game might not be in early access for too long. Which is cool. There were 4 delays. Crysis Remastered was delayed to September 18th on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The game's already out on Switch. Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition was delayed to 2021. Deathloop was delayed to 2021. And Sports Story was delayed indefinitely. I'm disappointed that Deathloop was delayed, obviously, as we talked about a few weeks ago. When we did it, we revisited our most anticipated games for the rest of the year. Like, Deathloop was high on my list because I was really looking forward to it. Sports Story and Stanley Parable, like I hadn't heard about them for so long that I was like, this does not surprise me in the slightest. But
yeah, if we don't hear about something from a like Dying Light this week, I don't think that's this year at all.
Yeah, it's like you can read the tea leaves sometimes where it's just like, I mean, it's August. Like, and if we're not hearing about games by now, like, it's like Hollow Knight with me. It's like, I'm dying for this game to come out because I love Hollow Knight and I've played this and it was amazing and I want to play more of it. But it's also August and we're starting to get into that territory now where it's like, I don't think this is coming out. And, like, it's like, Sports Story was revealed and then never mentioned again. Like, and it was the same with the Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition. It's like, I'll play all these games when they come out. I've got plenty to play right now. Spiritfarer is amazing, and there's so much of it. Moody. Let's move on to free games. So the free games on Epic Games Store this Friday, August 27th, are going to be Hitman and the Shadowrun collection. Hitman probably because they just announced Hitman 3 is going to be an Epic Games Store exclusive. There's a few things been announced coming to Game Pass. Obviously, a lot of stuff got launched last week. Coming to Game Pass on September 3rd for PC and console is Resident Evil 7.
Great game. Definitely check it out.
Yeah. Crusader Kings 3 is launching into Game Pass on September 1st on PC. That's a brand new game that's coming out. And then 3 games on August 27th. Hypnospace Outlaws coming to PC and console. And then Crossing Souls and Don't Starve Giant Edition are both coming to PC. Leaving Game Pass On August 31st, Creature in the Well is leaving console and PC. Janna Sister's Twisted Dreams Director's Cut is leaving on console. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 HD are leaving on console. Metro Last Light Redux is leaving on console. And the Jackbox Party Pack 3 is also leaving on console. NBA 2K20 is leaving console Game Pass on September 1st. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is leaving console Game Pass on September 7th. That was not in there for very long.
Didn't think it would be.
I feel like it was not long ago where we were like, it's in Game Pass. On the miscellaneous side of... I don't, go ahead.
Go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to move on.
Yeah, I think they just... Game Pass is like Netflix. You're going to have a lot... They're just going to try and get in as many games as they can for you, even if it's just for a short amount of time. And they were able to get one of the biggest games of 2018 in there.
Well, so. It's like people bemoan the fact that games leave as well as get added, but it's like if I look at this and go, okay, Metro Last Light, right, is leaving the console one. It's been there for a while. Like at a certain point, an Xbox probably have tons of metrics and data to back this up. At a certain point, most of the people who are gonna play it have played it. And it has no value taking up a space in Game Pass that could be taken up by Resident Evil 7, for example. The only ones that I'm weird on are things like when Destiny 2 hits. It's like, so many people are going to play Destiny 2 on Game Pass. And it's like, if Xbox take it out, people will still be playing it. So it's one of it. Like, games as a service got into Game Pass. The ones that aren't Microsoft Studios games are a bit weird to me, but we'll see. That's future Amy's conundrum to work out. Yeah. We've got some miscellaneous stuff. EA Play, which is what they've renamed EA Access, launches on Steam on August 31st, which is really cool. GeForce Now is now available on Chromebooks. I have a Chromebook. Still waiting on that xCloud app to drop though. And another film adaptation of Firewatch has been announced. With new producers.
Another film?
Apparently there was a film. Apparently they were going to make a film of Firewatch, and then it kind of stalled out, and now some new producers are making a film adaptation of it. So... Okay. With luck, we might actually get a Firewatch movie that'll probably not be great, because it's a video game movie. And none of them have been that great.
I haven't played it, but I did a lot of research on it for last year for one of my projects, and it's a game that just from for what I know what happens in it, from what I researched, it's like it's ripe for a film or a TV show or a small limited series type thing. It's very ripe for it. If they can nail it, that'll be fantastic. But obviously, going off what the normal repertoire and thing of video games is, it's.
I mean, you'd say the same about Warcraft. As well, or like Assassin's Creed, like yeah. But no, I mean, like I hope it's good. Firewatch was a cool little game, and you're right, it would make a great film. It's a shame that the development studio has now been swallowed whole by Valve and doesn't make games anymore. Let's move on to the content drop. There's the article I mentioned earlier, which is Dear Rocksteady, how well you handle sexual harassment complaints isn't up for a vote. That's the thing over at Forbes, where they take the same issue that I took, but the author says it way better than me, so, go read this. Also, Microsoft Flight Simulator's visual glitches sprinkle in a dose of cosmic horror. This is a very fun picture book post over on Polygon. I don't know if you've been through it, because the world in Flight Simulator has been like basically it's like satellite imagery data, but then like composited into a video game, and that doesn't always work really well, and it creates these really insane graphical glitches when you're flying the plane around. Like there was one, I can't remember the exact details, but there was one like ice sheet from Greenland which was like 29,000 feet above sea level. Like yeah, it's created some really cool stuff, and if you go to that post, you can see some really funny images from Flight Simulator. And as I promised last week, I'm adding this new section of the content drop, which was last week on Words About Games, because I actually released some videos. I released a Mortal Shell review impressions video, which you can go check out, and I played through a level of Kill It With Fire, which is the chaos physics simulator game where spiders are everywhere and you kill them with hilariously, absurdly over the top weapons like bazookas and Molotov cocktails. There are some games out this week, Mooney. Boy, are there some games out this week.
One of them I can't wait to give a go. I'm going to drop some playing it instantly.
Which one is it? Never mind. I can see it. Tell me why.
You know what number it is. Yeah, tell me why. You know what number it is.
I was like, which one? There's a few on here. There's a few on here I'm excited for, and one I already have. On August 25th, No Straight Roads comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Start a rock band and end the EDM empire in No Straight Roads, a rockin' action adventure that mashes together rhythm-infused third-person combat with a kick-ass soundtrack. On August 27th, Surgeon Simulator 2 comes to PC. It's a good day to save lives, but you can't save them all alone. Now, with the help of other skilled surgeons, break the boring order of mundane medicine and embrace the chaos only a bunch of inept people can create together. Malpractice makes perfect. Also on August 27th, Tell Me Why Chapter 1 launches on PC and Xbox One. After 10 years apart, twins Tyler and Allison reunite to sell their child at home. They soon realize their past is not what they remember. Also on August 27th, Control AWE comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The Bureau studied its most dangerous altered world events in this lost sector. The records were sealed, the objects contained, and their powers abandoned. Now the sector is breached, and the objects are loose. They could have just written, this is the Alan Wake one, guys. And I feel like that would have been just as an effective description of this. It's the one with Alan Wake in it. I'm in. Yeah, I'm going to be playing this. Maybe not immediately because I've got a few games to play through, like we were just talking about earlier. But
yeah,
at some point in the next week or two, like I will dive right back in and experience this because I'm dying to know what happens next. Also on August 27th, Project Cars 3 comes to PSC, PS4, and Xbox One. Journey from weekend warrior to racing legend and experience the thrill and emotion of authentic racing. Own, upgrade, and personalize hundreds of cars, customize your driver, tailor every setting, and play it the way you want in your ultimate driver journey. The "your" was capitalized, so I feel like I had to put some emphasis in it. Your ultimate journey. On August 28th, Wasteland comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Following the critically acclaimed 2014 Game of the Year winner Wasteland 2, the RPG series that pioneered the post-apocalyptic genre in video games returns with Wasteland 3. Fun fact, I'm already playing it. I should have a video out for it on Wednesday.
That's when the embargo drops, is it?
Yeah. And the email specifically says I'm allowed to say that I'm both playing it and making content for it.
Oh, very good.
So, yeah, otherwise I never like to mention it when I'm playing a game ahead of time. Like, I remember once I got Far Cry 5 early. And I streamed some of it at the embargo. Like, it was, for starters, there's this ridiculous list of things I couldn't do that I had to have open next to me while I was playing it, and literally it was in that moment that I decided I was never going to do this stream again before it came out again, because I just got tons of people coming in going, how have you got this game? Like, literally, how have you got this? I asked. Oh wow, you're really lucky. Not really. Luck has very little to do with it. But anyway, I digress.
I asked.
I just asked, and I've put in a lot of hard work into making this channel what it is. And people give me their things, and I play them, and I talk about them, and you know, I don't spend money on games. I spend time and energy on them instead. Also coming out on August 28th, Windbound comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia. The Forbidden Islands are calling. Unlock their secrets. Shipwrecked on an island, explore, adapt, and navigate the land in perilous seas to stay alive. Also on November? Also on August 28th, Immortal Realms Vampire Wars comes to PC, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. Immortal Realms Vampire Wars is an engaging strategy game set in a dark vampire world in turmoil that combines empire management and turn-based combat with the unique card game elements. And also on August 28th, Madden NFL 21 comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Google Stadia. Rise to fame in Madden NFL 21, a new generation is leaving its mark on the NFL. Will you rise to the occasion, change the game, and take control of your own legacy? Shing on PC and PS4 on August 28th. Experience the most exciting and immersive beat-em-up combat system ever. Become a kick-ass ninja and slice some demons in style. And lastly, on August 28th, Nexomon Extinction. It's coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Nexomon Extinction is a classic return. Sorry, let me try that again. Nexomon Extinction is a return to the classic monster-catching games with a brand new story, eccentric characters, and over 300 unique Nexomon to trap, tame, and evolve. And I did not get what this game's title was riffing on until I said it out loud. Nexomon. Gonna catch 'em all.
I'm
Cool.
trying to catch them all.
There's a fuck ton of games coming out, and a lot of them look good, and I'm in that position. If I can't play all of them, let's play OpenCritic head-to-head, Moody. This is a game we play every single week where myself and Mr. Moody try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever gets closest gets 1 point. If you guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Microsoft Flight Simulator. For some reason, I thought there were more words after simulator. So then I just awkwardly stopped in what sounded like the middle of the sentence. I guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 78. Moody guessed it would get an OpenCritic average of 85. Microsoft Flight Simulator is one of the best reviewed games of 2020 with an OpenCritic average of 92. Congratulations to the team who made this game. Everything I said last week, bullshit. Like, absolute shit just came out of my mouth. But, you know, I woke up on the Monday morning, I saw the reviews had dropped, I looked, and I just went, well, I fucked that. In, like, multiple directions. I fucked it at OpenCritic head-to-head, and I fucked it when I didn't buy it when I thought to buy it last March. Last March, Moody. I was going to buy this game, and I chickened out.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, like, that's when I messaged you, I went, damn, man. I was like, I should have gone with my gut. I think I said, didn't it? I went with my brain instead of my gut. My gut was saying go like, I wouldn't have got 2 points anyway because I was like saying around 90 or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
No, I'm happy I got the point. I'm coming back. But yeah,
So
I think it's congratulations to them. Fantastic.
So I want to do
happy.
this just because it's cool to do. Because Microsoft Flight Simulator is up there now. So the 2020 Hall of Fame, according to OpenCritic, like the best reviewed games on OpenCritic for the year, it's The Last of Us Part 2, Half-Life Alyx, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Animal Crossing, Dreams, Ori, Doom, Legends of Runeterra, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Spiritfarer. It's a top 10.
Fantastic.
That's really cool. That is really cool. It's, I think, by the averages, and I'll have to like do more research into this, but I think by the averages, the review score averages of the top games versus the ones from last year, I think like from a review score average perspective, 2020 is already a quote unquote better year than 2019.
Not bad. Like we both have different opinions on this, but I'm not surprised by that. Like I said myself,
there was some
2019 was the greatest.
There was some really great games at the top end, like that top 5 that I keep talking about, of like my top 5 games of 2019. I was like, these games are fucking amazing, and then like the ones below it were like, these games are really good. Like, but I would never refer to them as my games of the year. Whereas, like, the top 5 of Fire Emblem, Control, Disco Elysium, Resident Evil, and Apex. I was like, yeah, those games were all excellent. What are we guessing this week? Because it wasn't Wasteland 3, because I've already played it. Surgeon Simulator 2. First, I should probably say that the current scores are Amy 15, Moody 13. I have... Oh, you're catching us again. You bastard. I had a 5-point advantage at one point. I've guessed closest on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, Half-Life Alyx, Resident Evil 3, Gears Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, Deep Rock Galactic, Man-Eater, Xenoblade Chronicles, West of Dead, Ghost of Tsushima, and Other Side, and I guessed the score correctly for Carrion, without even trying, because I just guessed a random number. Moody guessed closest on Zombie Army 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, XCOM Chimera Squad, Command & Conquer Remastered, Iron Man VR, Deadly Premonition 2, Fall Guys, Total War Troy, and Flight Simulator. He guessed the score correctly for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and there's been 2 draws, which were The Last of Us Part 2 and SpongeBob SquarePants. This week we're guessing Surgeon Simulator 2, because I've already played Wasteland 3, and I think I just rolled a dice on the rest of the games that were coming out.
I was surprised you didn't pick. I'm not going to suggest a change, but I was surprised you didn't pick. Tell Me Why. Is that because it's not?
Because it's only chapter 1. Yeah.
All right. I'm getting attacked by both.
I saw. Yeah. Yeah. It was just chapter 1, so I didn't want to pick a chapter 1 game in case like tons of places wait for the full release, or like doesn't get a score, or this, that, or the other. Like it. It is the game I'm most excited for this week, like chapter 1 of that game.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to chance it not getting a score or whatever, so I just moved on to a different game.
That's fair. No worries. Yeah, I have my score for it.
Yeah.
I believe it will get a 49.
Holy shit. Moody, do you remember? You know what number? You already know what number I'm going to pick for this game.
On 69, yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm going to get 69. Of course, that's what I'm going to guess for it. It's my go-to for when I have absolutely no idea how the reviewers are going to react to a game. I got
the other
69.
games that have come out have not reviewed well.
I know the VR one probably didn't, because I remember trying to play that and it was horrible.
VR one got a 43.
But I don't know what the first one got.
And the other one, I think, was like a 55 or something.
The anniversary edition got a 61. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They've added a lot to the game, so it's not just surgery things. I remember it was at the PC Gaming Show where it's like, it's got an open world hospital and you can upgrade stuff and do this and do that. Whatever, 69, that's my guess.
Sounds like 2 Point Hospital.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 Point Hospital was great though, and this isn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, that's not fair. I've never played the original Surgeon Simulator, and I'm not going to play this. So, we'll see what happens. We've got time for like a very short post show if there's something you want to talk about, because I got nothing. That's really on my mind.
I have nothing. I have nothing.
Apart from the Batman just going. That's what's on my mind right now.
I am vengeance.
I've just had my brain blown out by like all this cool DC stuff that I saw, and it's like, yeah, video games weren't on my mind much today. The only thing I was disappointed that there wasn't much about the comics, but like I know that
I was not surprised.
I wasn't surprised.
They said what they were going to do, so
they're doing a second one in September, so they might have some stuff about comics at that one. But it's always like about the films and stuff, because that's the stuff that everyone goes to the cinema to see. Like nerds like me are gonna buy the comics regardless. Like
maybe in September they'll give a new release date for Wonder Woman 2, because they haven't given that yet.
I'm wondering.
I think they're good at. I think there's 2 choices. I think that I'll talk about this on my own podcast tomorrow, but I think there's 2 things. They're either going to do it for December, or they're going to go March next year, and that means they're going to have arguably they could arguably have a great year for DC comic books next year, with Wonder Woman 84, Suicide Squad, and the Batman.
They could, yeah. I'm actually, Suicide Squad. Its jam is gone, so I'm kind of like, cautiously optimistic that. Well, actually, I'm fairly certain it's going to be better than the last attempt. I'm cautiously optimistic that he's going to capture some of that Guardians of the Galaxy magic and sprinkle it over the Suicide Squad movie. I saw the cast. The cast is insane.
Good story.
Like, the cast is cool as fuck. Like, when I was looking at it, like, Peter Capaldi as, like, the thinker. And then you got Nathan Fillion in there. Idris Elba's in there. Like, fuck yeah. The cast looks great.
John Cena's in there.
John Cena. I saw that Dave Bautista is desperately trying to get himself cast as Bane. I think he's trying to start a thing because I think he wants to be Bane, and like to be fair, he'd probably be a decent Bane. It depends on the direction they go for the character, though. And if it because I don't want him to just be Drax, but you know, with a wrestling mask on, like, cause that would just be like, yeah, whatever. Seen this in a Marvel movie. He's eating his crisps and he's like, I'm invisible, but we could see you. Crunch.
Hi, Drax. God damn it.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. We could talk about DC for the next half an hour, but probably shouldn't. That's gonna do it for episode 220 of the Words About Games cast. Play Spiritfarer. That's my sign off for the week. Play Spiritfarer. It's on Game Pass. It is amazing. I'm spoiling my own video. I don't even care. Play the fucking thing.
Well, I'll be out first. This or the video?
This. Probably. This definitely, if you convince me to play Apex in 5 minutes. So definitely this will be out first. Alright, yeah. We better go. Because this has been split into 2 videos, I have no idea how far over we're going. Because the timer says 53 minutes. Say bye, Moody.
Bye.
Sorry about the long podcast.
I am vengeance.
I am vengeance.